Girl, we will research every restaurant for 45 minutes before we go. We will read every review. We will watch every video. We will ask everyone we know. And we know there is no shortage of videos on the internet, every morning routine, every 5-step program, and we consume it all. But when it comes to your own life, what you want, how you want to live, what actually works for you, are you sitting around waiting for someone else to give you all the answers? And I think this is a conversation worth having because I think the question that I want to ask in today's video is, are you even curious about your own life anymore? If you're new here, I'm Erica Prevail, and I talk about lifestyle redesign. I talk about modern work culture and how I cured myself from corporate brain rot. I also talk about wellness and I talk about creativity. So let's get into today's conversation. I think I wanted to have this conversation today just because I think we have stopped being curious about our own lives. Oh, the tea of the day. Girl, we are in the dead of summer and I am playing around with fall flavors because it's my world. It's my tea world and I can drink what I want when I want, right? So today I have ginger turmeric with apple cinnamon, and it is delicious. And I'm definitely going to be running this back for the fall, but I'm drinking it right now in the summer and it's good. So, how did we get here? How did we get here to this place where we are not being curious about our own lives anymore? It didn't happen overnight, especially for us girls that are corporate girls. We are not used to being curious. We are handed a roadmap, a game plan very early that says go to school, get your degree, get in your corporate career, climb the ladder, hit all the milestones, have all the achievements. That is the game plan that we are given, and we follow it and we follow it well. If that resonates with you, put a me in the chat because that is the game plan that we're given. We're not told to be curious about our lives, about what we want. Again, we're handed this very particular roadmap and we don't question it. We don't question it. We follow the roadmap and we outsource our lives, our creative direction, our intuition to other people, to other things, to other systems that looks like success or we were told was success. And then we do this for years and years and years in our careers. And we look up one day, I know I did, and like, this is not me, this is not my life. And we are living these very different lives that aren't ours because we weren't curious. We just followed what we were told. And again, no fault to us or no fault to the people, our family members, our mentors, our teachers, our leaders who gave us this roadmap, but it led us to this place of not being curious about our lives. I have here the muscle of asking what I actually want has been sitting unused for a long time for a lot of us. Let that sit there. The muscle of being curious has just sat unused for years and years and years. Of course, as kids, we were very curious. I'm sure you were too. But again, once we hit about that high school level and we're preparing to, go into the world as adults, create careers and lives for ourselves, that curiosity goes right out the window and we follow this game plan that other people have given us. So what happens to us when we stop being curious? What happened to me was I woke up one day in a life that technically looked fine, but it really didn't fit me. I had the good job. I had the great home. I checked all the boxes. I did all the things. I'm sure you might feel the same way, but something internally just felt very off to me. And I didn't have a name for it at the time. The language I kept using was just something feels off, something feels off. It doesn't feel quite right. And, I've talked about this before. It came to the place that I named it corporate brain rot, because we are in these systems that we're excelling in, we're doing well in. So no one is checking on us. We're not checking in on ourselves, and we're just going through the motions. We're just going forward. We're not asking ourselves, does this still work for me? Is this what I really want? How does this feel for me? Again, how do I want to live my life? We're not asking ourselves these questions, and we end up in this corporate brain rot. And we get too busy also consuming beyond what, our mentors, our teachers, our family members have shared with us, but what's on the internet, what's on the social media. And it makes it very easy to constantly consume every productivity hack, every morning routine, every 5-step plan for this or that or this or that. And we try to fit it in our lives. And sometimes it just doesn't work, because we are trying to fit someone else's roadmap in our lives without asking ourselves these very specific questions. And these people on the internet, myself included, they don't know you personally. So there is no way that someone can give you a 5-step plan or a 5-step strategy that works specifically for you. Now, of course, because I've done it, and I'm sure you've done it too, where you can take bits and pieces of someone's roadmap and fit it to yours. I think that's the best approach. That's how I go into when I buy services, when I buy courses, when I view master classes and things like that. I never go into it like, okay, this is going to like save my life or bring me some big revelation. I'm here to see what bits and pieces can I take from this and make it my own. Now, this is my life today. Of course, I wasn't looking at it like that years ago, but that's how I look at it today. And you just have to think about that. Like, again, the internet as a whole, they don't know your schedule. They don't know what season of life you're in right now. They don't know your history. They don't know what lights you up. They don't know what drains you. You know what I mean? They're sharing what worked for them. And then we try to copy and paste it into our lives and wonder why it doesn't work exactly the same. And let me just say this too. I think a lot of us get caught up in this because we are also living in a society that I say like a just add water society, or a popcorn society, a microwave society. We're living in this just add water culture where everyone wants a microwave solution or result, or this template, game plan, or roadmap to work for them in an instant or the very first try. And then when it doesn't work, we move on to the next system, the next plan, without asking ourselves these questions of why didn't it work for us? That curiosity piece is missing. The curiosity piece about our own lives is missing. Not just consuming the information that we take in, but actually sitting with it. Asking, does this fit my life? Does this feel like me? What would I need to tweak to make this actually my own? Again, these are the things that I do currently. I didn't do this years ago. And again, why I'm having these types of conversations, because I think they can help other women. That's the work that nobody wants to do, because it requires us to slow down and actually ask ourselves hard questions, honest questions that is sometimes difficult for us to ask. we've just been conditioned to, this doesn't work, let's move on to the next thing. This doesn't work, let's move on to the next thing. That doesn't work, let's move on to the next thing, without asking ourselves these hard, honest questions. And I know it's hard because I had to go through it. And I had to go through all this without a possibility model, without a mentor, me just figuring things out and seeing what worked for me. And again, I'm sharing this information with you today because I hope that you can take bits and pieces of this information and make it work for you, or at the very least, get curious about your own life and what you want and how you want it to work for you. And I also don't want to turn this into, I'm not trying to turn this into, I say, like not hiring coaches, not hiring mentors, not hiring guides, not hiring strategists. Because girl, I have hired them all because support is real. Currently, I have a creative coach that I really trust. She's the one who helped me write my book, and I still really use her as a creative mentor. She does fantastic creative work and really knows how to work with creatives. So I work with her in seasons where I need her. I have a business coach that I work with. I wouldn't call her a spiritual coach, but I would call her a Christian friend who is very much further along on her journey with God than I am, that I really trust for support that I work with. So listen, girl, I hire the people, and I hire people for one-off things. Like if I need support in this area or I need support in that area. So support is real, and guidance is very valuable. And I know firsthand experience how one-on-one support can deeply change your life. But even with the best coaches, the best mentors, the best strategists, you still have to show up for yourself with a level of curiosity. You have to do it. You have to do it. You have to know what questions to bring. Okay. You have to know what you're actually trying to figure out. And you have to know what you want your life to feel like. Nobody can do that for you. No one can hand you that for you. You have to come to those places with those questions, with that level of curiosity to get the results that you ultimately desire. And again, you can always take people's roadmaps, people's strategies, people's games plans, and make them your own by editing, tweaking, adjusting here and there, and make it yours. Again, that's what I do currently in this season when I work with people, especially if it's like a course or a masterclass or something like that. I go into it already with the mindset, okay, I'm going to look for the pieces that I can take away, because I already know every single thing probably won't apply to me because it hasn't been customized specifically for me. But it requires me to be curious enough about my own life, and it will require you to be curious enough about your own life and the things that you want and how you want to live. So why is this hard for women like us? Why is this hard for women like us? Because getting curious requires us to slow down. And us corporate girls in corporate America, we are not used to that. We are used to executing. We are used to producing. We are used to strategizing. We are used to achieving, and we are used to performing. And you can add several other things to that list as well. That is what we are used to. We are not used to sitting with questions that challenge us personally, because oftentimes sitting with questions like that can feel unproductive, and it can definitely feel uncomfortable, and it makes it very hard for women like us because it makes us feel like nothing is happening. If we don't see things shaking and moving, if we don't see the the ROI immediately, if we don't see the ticks going up in an upward motion, we're like, okay, this isn't working. Let's move it on. Let's move on. So it is very hard for women like us to really sit with questions like this internally. It's very hard for us to sit with this curiosity. But that is where redesigning your life begins. It begins with asking yourself honest questions like that. It's not the next course, it's not the next coach, it's not the next productivity system. It is sitting with yourself, slowing down for just a moment. I ain't saying you got to stop everything. I'm not saying that. I'm saying you just have to slow down for a little bit, have some quiet, and start asking yourself these questions and wait for honest answers. So some of the questions, so when I think about lifestyle design and how the framework I created for lifestyle design has 4 pillars, and I call them the 4 life layers. And redesign doesn't start with a plan or a strategy. It starts with questions. Lifestyle design starts with questions because you don't come to, this space of wanting to redesign in your life, having everything figured out. That's not the purpose. My goodness, that would be a task to say the least. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to come with a certain level of curiosity and start to ask questions. So I have 3 questions here that might be helpful for you to ask yourself. Question number 1, when you make decisions about your life, big or small, are you making it because it's something you genuinely want or because someone somewhere told you it was the right thing to do? And can you even tell the difference anymore? That's question number 1. Question number 2, when is the last time you did something that felt completely like yours? Not inspired by someone else, not a borrowed routine or plan or strategy that you saw online, not because it looked good from the outside, but just fully, authentically yours. When's the last time you've done that? And these are questions you can just sit with and reflect on. Or if you're a journaling girl, like right now, I'm currently in a season where I'm journaling heavily. I go in and out of my journaling seasons. So if this is something that you want to journal about. It helps me in certain seasons for sure. Just put things out on writing and paper. And then sometimes I even like dictate like voice memo journal responses. And question 3, if you stripped away everything you've been told about success, about balance, or lack thereof, about what a good life should look like, if you stripped all of that away, what you've been told, what would you actually want your everyday life to feel like? That's a good question to really just think about and really ponder on. And that's a good question to really write down and journal about. And these questions aren't meant to be a checklist of any sort, but just a starting point for you to start getting curious about your own life. And this is what lifestyle design looks like in practice. Getting curious enough to start asking yourself these questions that only you can answer, and then coming to a strategist or someone like me. I'm a lifestyle strategist that can help you set a strategy to accomplish and achieve these goals. I'll also help you ask these questions because many women, as I'm having this video, they've never asked themselves these questions. You don't even think to ask yourself these questions, especially when we've been working so long in these corporate constructs where curiosity, especially about our own lives, isn't something that was practiced, encouraged, or done. And if you want more support, I have the Ambition Reset. It's a 7-day audio experience that helps you start catching yourself but in these patterns because, I talk about rest a lot. And what I know for sure is that you cannot just rest your way out of these patterns. You have to reset it. And that's what the Ambition Reset does. It helps you, need my tea. It helps you catch yourself in the moment in these patterns instead of catching yourself months, months, God forbid, years down the line. And as someone who secured a 4-year college scholarship in the 8th grade, has spent 2 decades in corporate America, half of that in leadership in some capacity, 5 years of that in a very visible leadership role, I know a thing or two about ambition. And when I burnt out in my corporate leadership career, I knew something had to change, but I wasn't going to throw away my ambition. I had to reset it. And in the ambition reset, I give you the exact patterns that I use to reset my ambition. If that's something that you're interested in, I've linked it down in the description box. But when we talk about curiosity and not being curious about our lives anymore, you've just been in a space of looking for someone else to give you all the answers when all the answers are already inside you. You just have to start asking yourself some hard questions, some honest questions. And I understand why we all want it easier, faster now, because we're in this microwave popcorn society. But the life I have written here, the life you actually want is on the other side of some of those questions that you may have been avoiding or just may not have known to ask yourself. So start asking the questions, start getting curious, start there. That's where the redesign begins. I'll talk to you next time in the next video. Bye for now.